What is Interledger's total addressable market size? All the money. What we're really talking about with this idea of the Internet of Value is creating a single global payment network that connects literally everyone.
Big problem in payments is you don't have interoperability between networks, and that goes for blockchains as well, right? Blockchains can't solve this problem, right? Because blockchains are networks themselves.
You are not a blockchain.
That's not the solution to glue it all together.
Blockchains don't solve the interoperability problem by themselves.
As networks, they can't be a network of networks.
Internet of money, internet of value. Eventually, it is going to be a network of networks, interoperable, with the existing systems. It complements the existing systems.
So we need some kind of an internetworking protocol for payments.
Create that internet scale protocol to move digital assets.
Connect all of these various networks and can do multi-hop. Our bet is that Interledger protocol is going to be the protocol of choice for interoperability. Our bet is that this is going to be a successful interoperability protocol, a key component of this Internet of Value.
So in that way, it's a lot like TCP/IP.
So think of it as TCP/IP of blockchain.
Describe our work at Quant as laying the foundations with Overledger to build the Internet of Trust. We are honoring the original vision of the Internet by decentralizing it.
What we're doing is replacing the centralized web. Our technology is shaping the next evolution and generation of the internet.
I've always had an idea of creating an internet protocol for money, and they agreed. So we've got the US government involved, the Internet Engineering Task Force. They're the ones that endorsed and enabled TCP/IP to happen, the ones that basically created the protocols that run the internet.
They're looking to re-architect the internet.
Are you the web?
Yeah, we call it the Internet of Trust. So it's the next evolution of the internet.
And
so
it's already happening.
Yeah.
So it's not going to happen, it's happening now.
XRP, all of the money. You probably have heard this expression countless times, but sometimes you need to be like Jerry Maguire, Tom Cruise character, and you need somebody to show you the money. Consider smashing the like. If I have to earn it, I think I will. Let's get into this. Big shout out to our brother in space, Jesse of Apex Crypto Insights. He retweeted this where it says, all the money, if you know, you know. And of course, he cites Smoke. So Smoke posted this 19 hours ago. It says June 2026, BNY Mellon report, Ripple Treasury's goal is to move corporate money with XRP. Well, of course, that's the goal. At this point, it's the goal of many different organizations, institutions, enterprises, you name it. Because we do, in fact, have a handshake of Ripple Treasury with XRP, and it's documented. All right, let's pull this up on the screen. Start off right here as well. You see here in this document, pamphlet, whatever you want to refer to it as, is basically, some people refer to it as the smoking gun. How many times have you seen BNY be shared by Ripple? Numerous times over many years, but nonetheless, it says BNY, and it says, more importantly, in partnership with BNY Institute, okay, payments without pause. Now, I will give you guys an end screen card that will literally take you to a reference to that pause. If you've already seen that video, this too is aging extremely well. It says the journey to a 24/7, 365 treasury and working capital ecosystem. All right, the next page is also more than well worth sharing. Right here, we have literally from the document, or inside the pamphlet / document, I should say, where it says a lot, right? Talks about greater liquidity, so many things. But your smoking gun is right here. Ripple and BNY. Sometimes you just need to see it literally in writing. One thing to get an opinion, another to get an actual document in writing. So it says Ripple and BNY speeding up cross-border payments with stablecoins. Back in July 2025, BNY became the primary reserve custodian for Ripple's new stablecoin, Ripple RLUSD, which was built at that time for enterprise and use cases and to improve the speed, cost, and efficiency of cross-border payments. In October 2025, Ripple acquired GTreasury. And of course, we shared on the Ripple site the key integration with Swift. Like literally have finally provided some proof with that. We also saw from Swift their website where they were transparent and also shared the same thing with GTreasury. So again, this is aging well, and it says a TMS solution, now called Ripple Treasury. The goal is to help corporate treasuries move money 24/7, 365 in real time through stablecoins and digital assets like XRP. There's so many people getting misinformation. They're like, oh, if I don't see it say XRP, then it's just Ripple, and that's not cool. Boy, oh boy, just go to the documents. Really appreciate people like Smoke sharing this, and of course, Jesse re-sharing this. This part isn't highlighted, but I want to read this. BNY is enabling our clients who either want to issue stablecoin or who want to transact in stablecoins, says Ali Barone, head of product commercialization, product innovation for BNY. Quote, look at this. We are custodians for reserves, provide cash accounts, and offer investment management services to invest the reserves. It is an exciting area for growth, and we predict that the stablecoin market will reach 1.5 trillion by 2030. That right there, I had to include that. All right, so watch this. When we get further into it all, please keep in mind that when we talk about some of this stuff, well, some people, of course, are responding back to Smoke's post and sharing some things. Crypto Briefing had this, and I thought I would at least scratch the surface, to say the least. In the same day, the same posting, we see that Ripple invests in Flutterwave as payments firm hits 3.2 billion valuation. We know about Flutterwave even with Stellar. I shared that a few years ago. But nonetheless, please keep in mind that you have Ripple, you have Flutterwave, part of a Series E fundraising round that lifted the valuation of Africa's leading payments infrastructure company 3.2 billion, according to that press release. Again, why is this big? Because the company aims to advance Flutterwave's stablecoin strategy by connecting Flutterwave's growing cross-border settlement infrastructure with Ripple's enterprise-grade blockchain and digital liquidity capabilities. That's also worth sharing. All right, the other area I want to jump into is basically like this. Why in the world does all this matter to you who hold basically XRP? Great question. Let's break it down to layman's terms. Number one, it's corporate treasuries. They can now handle trillions in cash flows daily. For example, paying suppliers, managing liquidity across borders, et cetera, et cetera. Again, think of Ripple's main product is on-demand liquidity. It baffles me that I don't see enough people on X, YouTube especially, share Ripple's main product and main use case on-demand liquidity. So please keep in mind that when we mention this, well, we know that traditional systems are slow and expensive, but by having Ripple acquiring a big treasury software company like GTreasury and launching Ripple Treasury, it's game changer because it integrates XRP for fast, cheap cross-border payments via the XRP ledger, and of course their stablecoin RLUSD natively. So basically, it allows the whole thing of companies to have the ability to hold, see, and use them alongside regular cash in one dashboard. One dashboard, not many complicated dashboards, one. BNY Mellon, which are, if you're still not aware of it, is a giant custodian handling trillions, already custodies RLUSD reserves and publishes reports that basically push digital assets for real-world use in this year, 2026, and of course, moving on. Ladies and gentlemen, this adds mainstream credibility, and we want to see that, which also means that the XRP ledger is also being rebranded more neutrally. For example, like Ripple to XRP LD, which allows banks more comfortable adoption of it, and of course, tying it to specifically one company. Again, please understand that while I get excited about this, it's not just hype. It's infrastructure for actual business use. So again, what does it mean for XRP holders? And more importantly, probably the main reason why you're here, price. I could talk all day long about all the deep dive research in the world. Some of you guys don't even care about that. All you care about is what is it going to do for the price? So please understand that XRP's value comes from utility, obviously. Again, being bought / used for real transactions, more than speculation. And with that said, if corporations start using Ripple Treasury for daily money movement, well, for one, they'll need XRP for liquidity by being able to bridge payments, in this case, Ripple's on-demand liquidity model, into other integral systems moving forward, and even their own. This is going to create ongoing real demand on what? Boom, the XRP ledger. Isn't that the whole point? And at the end of the day, if you combine with post-SEC clarity, well, keep in mind that XRP's ETFs and RLUSD growth, well, you're going to have tokenized assets that are going to be building around a foundation for higher, more sustainable prices, of course, over time. In my opinion, with the research, it's a long-term bullish signal. And basically, it means for you that XRP is moving from promising tech to tools that big companies can actually plug into their operations. Adoption won't happen necessarily overnight, but this is the kind of real-world progress that can drive price higher as volume and utility, of course, grow. So I'm going to now back it up with some actual documents, not just what you see on social media, X, and so on, and let's jump into that. Number one, it's this right here. For one, people may have missed this. In a press release, specifically from Ripple.com, you do, in fact, see that Ripple did break into corporate treasury with $1 billion GTreasury acquisition. More importantly, this whole mention that you see specifically when we get into the other key insights, and that is this right here, where you have Ripple Treasury launch the first treasury management system, again, the TMS, with native digital asset capabilities. Again, this is more recent, April 1st, 2026. And right here, we see specifically what? Well, does it mention anything about specifically XRP? It does. It says digital asset accounts. Digital asset accounts enable treasury teams to create and manage a regulated Ripple native digital asset account directly within the platform. There's no external setup, third-party custody relationship, or separate system required. Again, this is how we capture value. We already built the Internet of Value. We're enabling, of course, the Internet of Value. And that, of course, is Ripple with XRP with on-demand liquidity. It says digital asset balances, including XRP and RLUSD, appear within the same account structure as cash, valued in real time and recorded with the same discipline as every other transaction. What do some of those key features include? Well, real-time valuation using live exchange rates from leading market data providers, refreshed within seconds of each transaction. Not hours, not days, not weeks. And more importantly, you have 15 decimal precision. This sounds a little nerdy, but hear me out. It's going to capture native notional exactly as it exists on chain and eliminating rounding discrepancies that can lead to reconciliation gaps. And of course, it's automated. And again, for transaction recording with native notional, fiat equivalent, and market price capture at the time of each event. It's going to be able to provide a complete audit trail for finance and control teams. Again, these are the things that, whether you like them or not, even the central banks want, right? And of course, remember how we talk about like a unified ledger? Well, you got to have a unified treasury. Unified treasury gives treasury teams complete real-time visibility across all digital asset and cash positions in a single dashboard. Right there, this is where a lot of people say, you know what? That is a smoking gun to where Ripple is, in fact, the unified ledger. Call it what you want. Look more into it. I would encourage you to do so. We're going to finalize it with this. We're going to take you over to this other key document. It's a 7-page document. It is the Future of Finance, Key Developments of 2026. And in this comes right from BNY Institute. What's important to basically share here as well is, again, the terminology. On page 3 of 7, you see here that they specifically point out cross-border payments. And it says real-time payments. So it says global real-time payments will continue to scale rapidly, despite whatever FUD you may have heard from somebody's opinion. Again, across markets, expanding use cases, increasingly having the volumes and interoperability. Again, this is why I include a little bit of quant that you saw at the very, very beginning of this video. I know I shared that intro a few times, but hey, when it's needed, it's going to be shared. So in 2026, we expect expanded payment rail connectivity. Notice how it says rail, right? And further technological innovations to drive faster, more transparent cross-border payments. Key opportunities for 2026 will include enhancing interoperability via SWIFT pilots. So again, we already have SWIFT with GTreasury and that plug to Ripple Treasury, okay? So we've kind of been there and done that. And notice how it says retail scheme and ledger. What are we going to use here? The XRP ledger. And to do what? Simplify cross-border payments. Again, this is so important to basically highlight. I want to highlight one last part before we wrap up the video, because some people are going to ask, well, what about where it goes to 2027? Great question. I'm ahead of you. We see here in the document that you have central clearing in U.S. Treasury markets. Again, please keep in mind that we have a multi-chain world. I have to give the honorable mention to even things like Canton, because Canton's going to specialize in privacy, especially when it comes to U.S. Treasuries. Okay, that's important. But at the same time, this is BNY Mellon. So we see here, by the end of this year, eligible cash transactions in the U.S. Treasury market will transition to central clearing. So that right there is so important. And I'm going to give you an end screen card that's going to take you more into the central banking side of things with who? The central bank, a central bank, the Bank for International Settlements. You owe yourself to watch that video. But nonetheless, this is going to be done with eligible repo and reverse repo transactions transitioning by June 2027. And that right there, I know people get tired of seeing some specific dates. You get tired of the whole thing. But nonetheless, that is so well worth pointing out because this is not messaging anymore like how we had ISO 222 for a mandate basically November 2025, but now we're dealing with what? Repo transactions. And again, if you're wondering how big that is, that's estimated 4+ trillion in daily uncleared transactions in scope. I didn't say weekly, I didn't say yearly, I said daily. So that's very, very worth pointing out and of course worth sharing with you. Hey, do me a solid if you happen to listen to the entire outline and simply type in this key phrase into the comments, and that is Ripple BNY, because clearly there's enough evidence to support that this is a very, very big deal. And more importantly, not just with Europe, not just with Asia, but the United States and worldwide. I really appreciate you guys listening to these outlines. The saying goes, know what you have, know why you hold it. The research trumps FUD 110%. May the Lord Jesus bless you all. I truly mean that. We'll see you in the next video. Over and out. Bye-bye.